It was lit. I thought this. Okay, good. Okay, now it's Christmas. Okay, let's do. Now let's see. Go. We're going to do just a quick hymn sing before we start the service with number 131 in the gray hymnal, Love Will Guide Us. Yeah, I know. Okay. No, because also it's just weird.
Love will guide Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill Unitarian Universalist. My name is Jean McKinney, and I'm a member of the Worship Associates Ministry. I especially want to welcome any visitors or newcomers to our church and call your attention to the special note for you, welcome guests and newcomers, on the back of your order of service. I would also like to welcome those of you attending online. The lyrics to hymns and all elements of the service may be found on your screen, and a complete order of service, including this week's announcements, is available via the link in the Sunday morning email and on the church website. Our in-person Sunday social is held immediately following this service. Please turn off or silence any cell phones, so help us maintain a worshipful experience. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you came to be at this beloved place, you are welcome here. This morning, our Share the Plate donations benefit the Interfaith Council for Social Services, and Jay Miller is going to tell us about it. Right here. Oh, hey, Jay.
Hey. Good morning. I'm Jay Miller. I'm a member of the congregation and a member of the board of directors of the Interfaith Council. The IFC is the only organization in Orange County that provides emergency shelter assistance for men, women, and families. We also serve hot meals daily and have an extensive food pantry. In addition, we provide emergency financial assistance for community members. IFC also facilitates permanent supportive housing for persons in our community who have experienced chronic homelessness. And we offer a community navigation program that helps make people aware of all the resources available in the area. And this drop-in service also includes access to computers and phones, as well as temporary lockers and access to a shower. We also have a program called Activate that promotes social justice and helps elevate voting efforts, advocacy, and community building. This is a very active organization in our community and highly aligned with our church values. Many of you already volunteer at IFC, and we have a rich history of support from members of this congregation. I would encourage you to join me as a volunteer if you aren't already volunteering it for IFC. For all this valuable work that I hope you're now better aware of, I hope you'll consider supporting these programs with a financial contribution today and ongoing. If you're writing a check, please include STP in the memo line, and if you have any follow-up questions about the work we do, please look for me after the service in the Jones building. Thank you.
Please stand in body and spirit to sing O Come, Emmanuel. It's on page 225 in the gray hymnal.
What a joy it is to be able to sing those words in this beautifully decorated sanctuary. Many thanks to everyone who made this possible. O come, Emmanuel. The word Emmanuel means God is with us. And this Advent hymn invites this divine presence during a time of need. The Bible stories are stories of a people in captivity and people in exile. We might reflect on the captives and exiles of today. Asylum seekers, those caught up in systems of exploitation and cycles of violence. People forced to hide their identities. The Advent hymn sings of a world scarred by might, greed, and war. The lyrics speak of a longing for joy and for peace. Amidst the brokenness in this hymn and the brokenness in our world, the hymn calls for a vision that can see the whole, a vision that does not separate, a vision that honors the divinity and the humanity within each of us. O come, Emmanuel. Liberate the captives. Create safety for the exiles. Shame us in our greed and cure us of our lust for power. Give us a vision that can see the whole. O come, let us worship together. The words for our chalice lighting are in your order of service. If you wish to do so, please join me in saying them. We light this chalice to affirm that new light is ever waiting to break through to enlighten our ways. That new truth is ever waiting to break through to illumine our minds. And that new love is ever waiting to break through to warm our hearts. May we be open to this light and to the rich possibilities that it brings us. Today is the second Sunday of Advent. Along with the first candle, which is lighted for hope, we light a second candle for peace. As we light this candle, we aspire to be a caring community that is a source of freedom for violence and exclusion.
But not alone, showing up, make a choice in the megaphone. Hearts with a purpose, we rise to the calling inside, and let the light won't resign. This is our time. Look around, hear the sound. We're an earthquake. We're fueling the currents. The truth is our fire. We are rising for our lives. They won't stop the tide this time. For our power is alive, and the strength to say what's right. So we shout, side by side, we have arrived. We will survive. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Old plot, new hate, wanna turn away. Long walls, hill walls, and the bridges. Tomorrow's too late. See the beat on the street, 'cause we're here to stay. Not a pulse, there's a shot. say what's right. So we shout, side by side we have arrived. For our power is our light, have the strength to say what's right. So we shout, side by side we have arrived. We are rising for our lives, they won't stop the tide this time. For our power is our light, have the strength to say what's right. So we shout, side by side we have arrived. We will survive. 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 We will survive.
Each week, we hold in our service a time for sharing the joys and the sorrows that we bring with us into this community. This time, if you've come with either a significant personal joy or a significant sorrow, you're invited to come forward, place a stone in the water bowl, say your name, and briefly share your joy or your sorrow. This morning, I'm going to place the first two stones, and then we will open it for others to share joys and sorrows. First stone this morning was asked to be placed by Susan and Alan Spalt. They are mourning the death of their niece, who was 19 and who had cerebral palsy. Alan and Susan are down in Wilmington gathering with the family during this time of loss, and we extend our love and our care and our warmth to them. And the second stone is asked to be placed by Kyle Terrell, who is a member of our congregation, a member of our caring ministry, who does so much to care for us. Kyle's mom, Joanne, passed away after a brief illness earlier this week at the age of 95. So we hold Kyle in our thoughts during this time.
Hi, I'm Demia Wright. A lot to be thankful for in the last few weeks, but one of those things is I started a new job a few weeks ago. I'm really excited to be back in environmental health. I also place a stone of concern because I am a federal employee and there's just a lot of unknowns and fear of the next 4 years. So just keep your federal employees in your hearts.
Hi, I'm Alfredo Rivera, and this time of the year is very significant and important for me because as before we start Advent, we get to celebrate my three joys of life, which is my wife and my two kids. They're in October and November back to back, so I just want to celebrate before we start Advent their life.
And I'll place a final stone for all the joys and sorrows that we hold in our hearts that were not spoken. Won't you join with me in a time of meditation and prayer? Spirit of life, source of our being and our becoming, we hold in our hearts our joys and our gratitudes, our struggles and our sadnesses, our worries and anxieties. We hold in our hearts those in this community who are facing loss, facing illness, searching for healing. We hold in our hearts the joy of birthdays, of family, of connection, of new beginnings. We give thanks for this community of care, this community of challenge. We know in community that we do not have to walk alone, to face our hardships alone, or to celebrate our joys alone. And for this we give thanks. In this season, we give thanks for each person, each group that makes our lives possible, richer and better. And with that feeling of gratitude and encouragement, let us rise to meet the day. Amidst a time of silence, let us hold in our hearts our own joys and sorrows, and the joys and the sorrows of our community and our world. I invite you to be still with me for a few moments. Amen. Blessed be. We usually sing a kind of a down-tempo, quiet, reflective piece in this time, but that's not what I wound up choosing for this morning. So we're going to sing number 1017 in the teal hymnal, Building a New Way. And as we sing it, I invite us to rise in body or in spirit and to join together in song.
Feeling stronger
Our reading this morning is by Jacob Trapp. This is the season when the child in the heart of all of us awakens, and the embers of long-forgotten dreams are blown into flame. The tramp of the legions is stilled. The Caesars lie in dust. But the light from that humble stable shines warm and bright. Something old and almost lost amid the clutter of the years is calling from the skies and across the fields of snow. The night winds are stilled, and in the darkened heavens, the stars foretell of lengthening days and the birth of spring after the winter's cold. This is the sign that the light of hope, which shines in the dimness of our broken dreams, will never fade or die. Oh, stretch your hands, palsied by fear, and with the simplest trust of the child, grasp another's hand and walk the way together. Though the darkness press in upon us, and the promise of Christmas comes like an echo of music upon the wind, let our hearts remember that loveliness, that light. Freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. If you wish to donate online, there's a QR code on the back of the order of service, and there's information on the church's website. Today, our generosity extends beyond our walls as we give to our Interfaith Council for Social Services. Remember that you can donate online, or if you are writing a check for the ISC, please write STP in the memo line.
There are more waters rising, this I know, this I know. There are more waters rising, this I know. There are more waters rising, they will find their way to me. There
During this time of crisis and challenge in our state, in our nation, in our world, we have a great many people who have been visiting this church for the first time. Maybe that's some of you. Or checking out this community anew. Perhaps looking to grasp another's hand and walk the way together, as walking the way alone is so frightening. So if you're one of those people who has been checking us out during this season, during this time, I welcome you. I look forward to getting to know you and answering questions you may have about this faith tradition. I think one of the questions that people who check us out often have is, so what kind of church is this exactly? Are you Christian? Christian-ish? Non-Christian? Multi-faith? And if you're not Christian, then why do you make such a big deal out of Christmas? Both Unitarianism and Universalism originated as heretical Christian denominations. And somewhat ironically, just as Unitarianism was stretching beyond Christianity in the 1800s, just as Unitarianism was opening to transcendentalism and romanticism and religious traditions from the East and all the other openings that would follow, those same Unitarians at the same time were also inventing the practice of Christmas as we would recognize it today. For example, the practice of the Christmas tree was brought to the United States from Germany by a Unitarian minister. The Christmas hymn, O Holy Night, was translated from the French by a Unitarian. And many Christmas songs, from It Came Upon the Midnight Clear to Jingle Bells, written by Unitarians. Saying this list, I'm reminded of a Jewish friend of mine who loves this time of the year because he gets to listen to Christmas music all the time. I asked him about this, and he said, Thom, all the great Christmas songs were written by Jews. This is the time of the year when I get to connect with my heritage. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, a Jewish person wrote that. White Christmas, also written by a Jewish person. Silver Bells, Jewish person wrote that one. And Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Yes, Jewish people wrote that one too. I was expecting some laughter at that point. And for whatever reason, we tend to accentuate the Christmas season in this congregation compared to some other Unitarian Universalist congregations. We go all out in December with greenings and wreaths and pageants and Advent candles and choir services. But our membership is diverse. We include some who grew up Christian and want absolutely nothing to do with the religion of their childhood. And we include some who grew up Christian and continue to feel an affinity and a connection with the tradition they grew up in. Our membership includes those who grew up Jewish, those who grew up outside of organized religion, and those who grew up exploring different faiths. Our membership includes those who have pursued different spiritual practices from Buddhism, humanism, neo-paganism, and religious naturalism. And our membership includes those who, like me, grew up Unitarian Universalist. This is all to say is that we are a blend, a jumble. And as a minister in this tradition, I have both the wonderful privilege as well as the onerous burden of trying to offer something that speaks to all, while at the same time staying within both the limits of my knowledge and, more importantly, the limits of my authenticity. This has all been to say that this morning I'm going to speak about the Bible and Jesus and the Christian tradition, and I'm not apologizing for that. But I'm also not assuming that everyone, or even most of us, feel a deep connection with that tradition. And so this morning I want to evoke a way of approaching the story of Jesus' life that might speak to these times in which we are living. The story of Jesus of Nazareth is the story of an individual, and the story of a community, and the story of a people living under the crush of empire. It's a story of an individual, a community, and a people trying to figure out how to live and how to survive under the crush of empire. Jesus is born under a mortal threat from the empire's rulers. Jesus lives his life and engages his ministry within the context of a people living under the rule of empire. And Jesus, of course, dies as a victim of empire's violence and brutality. In Matthew's gospel, Jesus' very birth is seen as a threat to empire. Jesus is born, and King Herod orders the slaughter of all the infants under his rule, lest any of them pose a threat to his power and authority. In Luke's gospel, empire enters the story even before Jesus is born. Mary's prayer upon learning that she is pregnant is to a God, quote, who will bring down the powerful from their thrones and lift up the lowly, who will fill the hungry with good things and send the rich away empty. It's striking that a pregnant Mary would pray for regime change. But then again, it's not surprising. Who better than a mother to understand the danger that the government poses to her child? In Luke, Jesus' birth narrative begins, "In those days a decree went out from Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered." It places Jesus' story within that story of empire. Jesus' life in the Gospels is spent interacting with empire. Jesus encounters Roman soldiers and tax collectors. Jesus also engages in debate with different groups within the Jewish community about how best to live under the Roman Empire's occupation. Some call for violent resistance. Others call for appeasement. Jesus' sayings and teachings and parables speak to the challenges and dangers of living under Roman rule. And of course, Jesus dies at the hands of empire as well. He's tried and condemned by Pontius Pilate. He's crucified by the Roman authorities. Every single part of Jesus' life, from the moment of his conception to his resurrection, is about empire. And the Gospels usually name this truth explicitly. I love that reading by Jacob Trapp that Jean shared earlier. Jacob Trapp in this reading is explicitly anti-imperialist. The promise of Jesus' birth, according to that reading, is that the tramp of the legions might be stilled, that the Caesars might lie in the dust. Renowned biblical scholar John Dominic Crossan wrote a book placing the lives of Jesus' earliest followers within the struggle against empire. The subtitle of one of his books, How Jesus' Apostles Oppose Rome's Empire with God's Kingdom. John Dominic Crossan writes, Rome was not the evil empire of its ancient time. Rome was not the axis of evil in its Mediterranean place. Rome was not the worst thing that had ever happened to its pre-industrial world. Rome was simply the normalcy of civilization within first century options and the inevitability of globalization within first century limits. But this is the crucial point for this book, Crossan continues. Who they were then and there, we are here and now. We are in the 21st century what the Roman Empire was in the first century. Crossan goes on to compare two worldviews. One is an imperial worldview, the other anti-imperial. The imperial worldview was known as the Pax Romana, the peace of Rome. The peace of Rome says basically, we conquer you, you submit to us, and we let you live in peace, as long as you're conquered and submitted. It's like a mob protection scheme on the geopolitical scale. Pay us and we won't let anyone hurt you. And by the way, we're the ones threatening to hurt you. Crossan contrasts that with what he calls the Pax Christi, the peace of Christ. And that term may be uncomfortable for us, and for good reason. Because 300 years after Jesus was born under the crush of empire, lived under the crush of empire, and died at the hands of empire, Christianity aligned itself with empire. But before Christianity did that, there was anti-imperialist teachings of Jesus grounded in justice and acceptance. I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you cared for me. I was in prison, and you released me. Whatsoever you do for the least of these, you do for me. I found these words written by a Unitarian Universalist minister in Maine. Her name is Reverend Mike Johnson. And these words she wrote in early 2020 during the first weeks of the pandemic. She reflects, "In my feelings of powerlessness, an old friend comes to me. Jesus comforts me by reminding me that in many ways I am powerless. I cannot control what my government is doing right now, and the idea that it's even my government is an illusion. Democracy itself," she writes, "has become an illusion, a thin veneer over oligarchy and over fascism. Jesus," she continues, "had no political power. He lived his whole life in the shadow of empire, and that empire killed him. Yet he was able to respond and to act. He prayed and taught and healed the sick and listened and moved among ordinary people in lowly places. He didn't concern himself very often with the emperor or the king or the governor. He was clear that those powers were evil. Rather, he went directly to the poor and the oppressed, the sick, and those were the ones who caught the eye of divine blessing." And what of us today? As we enter into this season of lights and bells and singing in joy, of togetherness and decoration, we might remember the anti-imperialism of Jesus' life and ministry and message. We might remember this example of a life of service, of justice, of healing, of inclusiveness, of acceptance. Whether we believe all the theological things that are said about Jesus, we can still celebrate, as those Unitarians did, as they were shifting theologically, as those Jewish authors of so many Christmas songs did. We too can claim this holiday, this festival, this life and example as one of nourishment for ourselves. Amen, and blessed be. And we're going to join in singing our closing hymn of the morning. It was fun to pick some upbeat songs to sing in this space, and it comes with new life. So we're going to sing a hymn of liberation and a hymn of hope. It's number 151, "I Wish I Knew How." And I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we sing together.
I wish I knew how
So remain standing, please. The words for extinguishing the chalice are in your order of service, and please join me if you'd like. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. So let's thank everyone who contributed to the service. So please join us in singing Shalom. The words are in your order of service. You can either hold hands with your neighbor or cross your hands over your heart.